Hey, guys! Welcome back to history class. I know that we took a break from learning about our ancient civilizations so that we can learn about Christopher Columbus. And I know that I already said this, but your presentations on Christopher Columbus were asombroso. Do you know what that word is in English? Amazing. Okay, they were amazing, you guys. And so now we're getting back into ancient civilizations, and we're going to study Egypt today. Now, you guys have heard about Egypto before. It's not like it's super new for you, but it is super important to know about Egypt. Egypt was one of the most powerful civilizations to ever exist. Okay, and it was thousands of years, you guys. Thousands of years that Egypt was a powerful civilization. Before we get started, we are going to do some review, but can anyone tell, it's weird, right, that you can't see my face? Sorry. Can anyone tell me what continent Egypt is in? What continent is Egypto in? Remember our 7 continents. We have North America, South America, Antarctica, Australia, Europe, Asia, and Africa. What continent do you think Egypt is in? Well, you can look in your ancient civilization packet, or you can wait until I tell you. So here we go. Let's keep going. So what are we going to do today? It says on number 1 that we're going to review what do you remember about ancient civilizations in Mesopotamia? I'm sure you guys remember a lot. Hopefully, right? Then you're going to learn the intro to Egypt, your location, okay? Then you're going to learn about the people, the food, the houses, the clothing. What's clothing in Spanish? The ropa, okay? And why they were remembered. They were remembered for their pyramids. Because I bet you anything that when you guys saw Egypt here, what did you think about? You thought of pyramids. You thought of their crazy writing, which is called the hieroglyphics, and their pharaohs, right? And maybe some of you guys thought about Bible class, because it's true, Egypt was famoso in the Bible. Okay, so today you're going to watch this video, and then you're going to do a review with me. Perdón, because I know that it says in your homework sheet that there's an activity page for the Egypt today, but there's no activity page for Egypt today. You're just going to write it on a piece of paper and answer the questions. Okay? So let's do this thing. Okay, let's start with review. It's not like we always can remember everything without trying to review it, right? So here we go. Let me ask you some questions. Make sure you don't just look at the screen. I'm not even there this time. Answer these questions, okay? So what do you remember about ancient civilization in ancient Mesopotamia? Question number 1. What does the word ancient mean? What does the word ancient mean? Very old, right? Okay, I wonder who got that one. What are the 3 basic needs that every civilization has to have? Everyone in the world needs what? Number 1, starts with an F, food. Number 2, shelter. That means refugio, somewhere to live, right? And number 3, clothing, your ropa, okay? So what are some things, what is a civilization? We know a civilization is where people live together, but what do they need to have a civilization? Give me one thing. They need where to get their food. They need work for the people, government, culture, which was your art and your architecture and your religion and your music, and one way of writing, right? So what is history? History is what? The study of the past. Okay? So that is what ancient civilization was. I don't know if you guys remember, but there's 6 ancient civilizations that we're going to be learning. We've only learned one so far, Mesopotamia. And today we're going to be starting our second ancient civilization. The other ones are Grecia, China, Roma, and the Aztecs in Mexico. And you guys learn about one huge civilization all the time. What is it? The Mayans, okay? Also a very important civilization. Okay, so what do we remember about Mesopotamia? First of all, who remembers where Mesopotamia is? It was in Asia, right? Okay, it was on the other side of the world where a lot of people think that the Garden of Eden was. What are the 2 famous rivers by Mesopotamia? The Tigris and the Euphrates, okay? Let me know, you guys, if you like, text me and tell me if you guys are getting these questions right, okay? The Tigris and the Euphrates. Remember that a civilization needed a river, needed water, because how were you going to have water for your people if you don't live by the water? So the Tigris, and the Euphrates River. One thing that the Mesopotamians have in common with the Egyptians is that they waited for the river to inundarse, to flood, to have an inundación every year, so that it would give water to their plantas and their comida, okay? So they really depended on that. Guys, what were the names of the temples in ancient Mesopotamia? What were the names of the temples? Does anybody remember? The templos? The ziggurats, exactly. Remember, they thought that the gods actually lived in the top of those temples. Did they believe in the real God? No, they didn't. And either did the Egyptians. You're going to learn that today. Okay? Also, what was a city-state? A city-state were all the little pueblos of ancient Mesopotamia. Okay, I only have a couple more questions about ancient Mesopotamia. What did they make their clothes out of? What was the ropa made from in ancient Mesopotamia? Flax. Okay, that was a grano that they were farming. A lot of them were farmers, right? And give me one famous person from the Bible that lived in Mesopotamia. Abraham and Nebuchadnezzar, right? Remember, he made the hanging gardens of, what was another name for Mesopotamia? Babylon. Ooh, okay, cool. Okay, what was one huge important thing that the Mesopotamians invented? Sailboats. I hope you got that one right. So they could do their trading, their intercambiando. Okay, so here we go. I think you guys are totally 100% ready for ancient Egypt. Okay, so let's do it. The introduction to Egypt. First of all, remember, like I said, some of you guys might remember Egypt from the Bible. There's 2 very famous people from the Bible that spent a very long time in Egypt. One was born there, and one was sent there from his brothers in a sclavitude, in slavery. Anybody know who those 2 people were? Both in the Old Testament. One starts with an M, the other one starts with a J. Anybody know? Moses and Joseph. Okay, they both spent a lot of time in Egypt and were very important there. So where is Egypt anyway? Egypt is in, see that little blue circle right there? Africa. So if anybody got that right from the beginning of the video, congratulations. Felicidades. Africa is where Egypt is, right there in the north, okay? By the Red Sea and the super, super famous Rio Nilo, the Nile River. Look, very, very close to there was what? Mesopotamia. So here's a location. You can see up on the right-hand corner, you can see I'm putting up the pages that I'm reading from in your packet. If you want to get out the packet, you can read with me and see the pictures there. You can see on the right-hand side that Egypt is surrounded by the Sahara Desert. Okay, the Desierto de Sahara. Also by the river, the Nile, and the Red Sea, and on top the Mediterranean Sea, because Europe is right north of Egypt, okay? So it was surrounded by water, even though it's also surrounded by desierto, which sometimes would make it hard. But the people depended on the rio to do its inundación cada año to give the tierra more water to grow its plants. So look what it says. The first Egyptians settled in the Nile River Valley. A valley is a valle. That was over 5,000 years ago. People grew crops, that's your plantas, in the rich suelo, beside the Nile River. The river valley was surrounded by desert. The desert helped keep invaders away. Okay, so a lot of people for a very long time would not invadir. They would not attack Egypt because they couldn't get through the desert easily. The desert had sandstone and limestone. Limestone is like a very soft rock, you guys. It's hard, like you can't build through it very easily, but it's soft at the same time. But they used it to build pyramids. There was also gold in the desert for making jewelry. Okay, so there's no gold there anymore because everyone's already taken it all. But back then they used a lot of the gold that they found from the desert. Guys, Egypt lasted a very long time. But do you actually know that for their orgullo in the Bible, it says that God allowed them to be destroyed because they didn't want to do what was right. Okay, so now let's learn about the people of Egypt. Can you guys picture in your mind what you think they look like? Let's see if you're right. First of all, what did the Egyptians eat? They ate a lot of bread. Okay? Oh man, I would love to live there then because I love to eat bread. They ate onions. What's that? Cebolla. Peas. Peas, I think, are not, those little, like, green things that are vegetables, little green pelotitas. And beans. They ate frijoles, okay? Just like you guys. Okay, cool, huh? They liked fruit, such as pomegranates, figs, and dates. Those are fruits like that we don't really eat here, but they ate fruits. They ate fish from the Nile River. Yum. Even though, you guys know there's a big difference between fish from the ocean and fish from the sea. I mean, from the river, pardon. So I wonder which one you guys like better. Cooking was done outside or on the rooftop. It was hot inside those houses, you guys. So they would do it on top of the techo. You're about to see a picture of the houses because you're probably thinking, how is it on top of the techo? We can't go on top of our techo. But their techo looks different than ours does. It's called a roof in English. Egyptians sat at low tables and ate with their fingers. Ooh, no tenedor. Okay, interesting. I guess it was easier that way. Your hands would be messy, that's for sure. Look what it says with the houses. And see up on the house was plano on top. Okay, that's how they could cook out there. It says Egyptians built their houses around a courtyard. A courtyard's like almost like a canchita. Their houses were made from dried mud bricks, just like from Mesopotamia. They covered the bricks with white limestone. Most of the houses had 3 or 4 small rooms. Okay, unless you were rich. I heard that if you were like super rico in Egypt, you would have 30 cuartos. 30. For what? ¿Quién está viviendo en 30 cuartos en una casa? Huh. The houses had small, high windows. You guys see it in the picture? This made the house dark even in the daytime. So it was bien oscuro in the daytime, you guys, in the houses. That's why they spent most of their time outside. It says in the hot weather, families spent most of their time on the roof. So take a second to look at the house. It says the flat roof was there to eat and sleep. They even slept out there sometimes. Most Egyptians built their home with brick, that's ladrillo, but they made it from lodo, from the mud. It says from the sun-dried mud from the Nile River. Inside was an entrance hall, a room for activities like a sala, a bedroom, a kitchen, and place to guardar things. There were grains that they would store, grano, outside. The animals were kept in the little canchita place. And the rooms were very, very small with a little bit of light from the sun because there was no electricity, obviously. But that kept the house cool. So they kept it that way so the sun didn't get in too much. What did they wear? Here's a picture of what they wore. It says Egyptian clothing was light and cool. Okay, just like here. We don't wear any ropa that's bien pesada because it's too hot and we're going to sudar. Women wore simple dresses made from a rectangle of linen, of tela. Okay, simple. They tied the rectangle together with a knot. So they just made a little knot. And made a shawl over them. That's like a little thing to go over their brazos and their hombros. You can see that up there. Men wore short skirts. Sorry guys. They wore faldas then. No. I'm glad you guys don't wear faldas. That's weird. But that's what they did because it was the culture back then. And they pinned it at the waist, the cintura. Both men and women wore maquillaje. Both men and women wore maquillaje. And used jewelry like cadenas and anillos and different stuff like that. And perfume de aceite. Interesting, right? Totally different. So why are they remembered? What was their contribution to the civilization? Whew, like I told you before, they're remembered for a lot, you guys. You guys remember them for what? Pyramids. So let's see what they're remembered for. People remember the ancient Egyptians. They built great pyramids. True or false? Super great pyramids. Look at those things. Hey guys, does anybody know what the pyramids were for? Remember that in Mesopotamia, they believed that the gods, the otros dioses, they lived in the ziggurats, right? The temples. Well, with the Egyptians, they believed that after you die, you live in another life called the afterlife. We believe that too, but it's called heaven or hell, right? They didn't call it that, but they believed that you woke up in another life. They didn't believe in the Bible. They didn't believe in God's word, which is very, very triste. Obviously, there were some opportunities to learn about it because who went there? Moses and Joseph, right? But the pyramids were actually tumbas, you guys. Can you believe that? They were tombs. They were where the people buried the pharaohs. Why were they so big then? I mean, come on. Where we enterrar people, where we bury people in the ground after they die, are small. Just enough espacio for the body, right? But not in the pyramids. In the pyramids, they put all their tesoros of that person. Their muebles, their oro, anything de valor de esa persona. Esa persona no iba a regalar esas cosas a su familia después de morir. No, 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 no. They would put them in their pyramid. The pharaohs would, the faraón, the rey de Egipto, would put them in the pyramid. Why? So that in the afterlife, in the next life, where they were going to levantarse de nuevo, they would be rico todavía. Qué crazy, huh? ¿Eso funcionó? No, eso no funcionó. There wasn't a life like that. Dios dice que no podemos traer nuestras cosas de aquí hasta el cielo o hasta el infierno. No vamos a tener nada. No nuestra ropa, no nuestro dinero, nada de eso. But the pharaohs thought that it was true. Also, like arquitectura, they're famous for the, oops, is it coming? The Sphinx, okay? If you see that thing is in Egypt, and it's been there for thousands of years. These were statues, okay? So they made estatuas. They also used writing. Anybody remember the writing of the Mesopotamians? It was called cuneiform. This one's called hieroglyphics. Everyone say that, hieroglyphics. Let's see what it looks like. Here we go, picture writing. Can you read that? Yo no. That's how they wrote. They didn't write in A, B, C, and D, but they wrote in pictures. Do you know how they wrote on paper? They used this plant to make this paper called papyrus. Everyone say papyrus. This was paper made from the stems of the papyrus plants. And the Egyptians had leaders called pharaohs. Those were their leaders. Those were their reyes. Okay, they were very, very powerful. We usually see pictures like this because this is where they are in their tumbas. Remember the mummies? You guys have seen it in cartoons and stuff like that. Mummies are where they wrap the body, they envolver the body in like tela. They really did that, you guys, to preservar the cuerpo so the cuerpo could still be used in the afterlife. Eso no es real, pero ellos pensaron que sí, ellos creyeron eso. Pero la Biblia dice que no, eso no es real. Que sí vivimos, nosotros vamos a vivir en una otra vida, pero es en el cielo or en el infierno, right? Okay, so that is Egypt, you guys. So here we go. I'm going to give you some questions to answer and see what you learned today. Okay, so here are your questions, and I do want you to write them down, okay? You can make your title like super pretty if you want, or super simple. It's up to you. But I do want you to write down the questions and answer them. So I'm going to read them to you so you can understand what they say. And then also on the right-hand side, I want you to make a Venn diagram like you did yesterday for English and yesterday for Bible. I want you to list some things that belong to Egypt, some things that are about Mesopotamia, and then some things that they both have in common. Okay? So it says in number 1, what continent is Egypt in? Number 2, what famous river is Egypt by? The Rio. Number 3, what famous desert is Egypt by? The desierto. Number 4, who is one famous person in the Bible who lived in Egypt? Number 5, where did the Egyptians cook their food? Where did they cocinar? Number 6, give me one food the Egyptians ate. Number 7, what did the Egyptians use the pyramids for? Number 8, what are hieroglyphics? Number 9, what is papyrus? Number 10, what are pharaohs? Okay, if you need to go back, you can find the different parts in the video. You don't have to watch the whole thing again. I'm sure you don't need that. Okay? And you can also use your paper that's inside your packet. So, thank you for listening, thank you for paying attention, and thank you for working hard, you guys. Have a great day.